This is what Brazil will become. Soon we'll look like those pirate islands we see in movies where we shelter pirate ships and scruffy beards, that kind of thing. A paradise for criminals. Because yesterday there was news that Sandor Seifi and Cristina Kirchner were convicted of corruption in Argentina, 6 years in prison. And then we get worried, right? Because since Lula is opening the doors, he opened the door for Maduro to receive him here with a red carpet, bringing him from Caracas. He opened the doors for Nadine Heredia, not only opened them, but even sent the Air Force plane to rescue her. Now, Cristina Kirchner is coming. She's also been convicted, and I don't know, maybe they'll grant her asylum too. So I think we need to have strict scrutiny regarding this asylum granted to Nadine Heredia, even to prevent this from happening again and to show, look, we are vigilant here. It's unacceptable to even consider it. And I'm not saying it's being considered, but given the precedents, we are concerned. The granting of asylum again. A Latin American leader connected to and close to President Lula is convicted of corruption like Cristina Kirchner was. Actually, this is a case where we should applaud the Argentine justice system, the Supreme Court of Argentina, for delivering justice in this specific case.
The Brazilian Air Force was used politically to rescue Nadine Heredia, Peru's ex-First Lady convicted of corruption, in an operation costing $345,000, and it was authorized directly by the Brazilian president. The episode reveals an open wound and asks, how far should absurd orders from a country's highest authority be obeyed? The VC-99 flew from Brasilia to Lima, incurring $318,000 in logistics, $19,000 in airport fees, and $7,500 for crew per diems. The cost of the operation was revealed after a request by Congressman Marcel Van Hatten to the Ministry of Defense, exposing how Brazilian taxpayers' money was used to transport someone convicted of corruption and money laundering. Welcome to Life in the Barracks. Nadine Heredia had sought refuge at the Brazilian embassy in Lima right after receiving her sentence. The Brazilian government granted humanitarian asylum, claiming that she is undergoing cancer treatment. The official justification failed to convince critics who see the operation as clear support for corruption in Peru. Transparency International classified the mission as one of the most infamous episodes in Latin American history. In an official publication, the non-governmental organization stated that the Brazilian Air Force played the role of a getaway pilot, dishonoring the Brazilian people and tarnishing the image of the armed forces. The episode caused outrage because the Brazilian Air Force is a state institution, funded by society's efforts, and should not be used for missions that undermine military honor. The question that arises is whether military personnel should follow orders that violate ethical principles and expose the country to international embarrassment. When Nadine Heredia arrived in Brazil, she was accompanied by her youngest son in Brasilia. She and her husband, former President Ollanta Humala, were convicted of corruption and money laundering in a scheme linked to Odebrecht and the illegal financing of campaigns. The Peruvian justice system deemed the crimes common, not political, emphasizing the gravity of Brazil's asylum decision.
Regarding the issue of off-the-books campaign funds, both Lula and Dilma, they were aware of the amount, let's say, not necessarily the exact value, but they knew the scale of all our support. Over the years,
The operation shook both Peru and regional politics. By interfering in the judiciary of another country, the Brazilian government opened the door for other powers, such as the United States, to justify interventions in neighboring nations. The former general of Nicolas Maduro's regime, Hugo Carvajal, told the Americans that Chavismo illegally financed left-wing campaigns in several countries, including that of the Brazilian president. This information reinforces the perception that there is a network of mutual support among left-wing governments, even if these fundings are illegal.
So look at how President Lula is being treated in Peru, so he needed this, so he is. See the political damage he's causing himself. So, in the 2022 campaign, the whole movement was to disappear from Odebrecht, to stay away from this topic, not to touch on the Lava Jato issue. That was the whole movement. So when Soledad attacks, Lula brings all of this back. And then, do you still remember Odebrecht's international connections? Our Ariel was showing this week all of Odebrecht's connections, and connections in governments that were friendly governments. You had a kind of strong relationship with Odebrecht's actions from the point of view of doing business with friendly governments. Here, during Lula's administration and then during Dilma Rousseff's administration.
Brazilian society, already tired of corruption scandals, received the news as yet another blow to trust in the institutions. Using public funds to protect a convicted person reinforces the perception of impunity. Subtitle: We are facing a scenario in which political decisions can compromise military honor and international credibility. The question is whether absurd orders must be followed just because they come from the president, or if there are limits to respect. The Air Force operation to rescue Nadine Heredia will be remembered as a milestone of dishonor and a warning for the future of the Brazilian armed forces. The question that echoes is, how far does obedience go when the order challenges national dignity itself? Share your opinion in the comments for a debate. On Vida No Quartel, you stay updated on all military news. Leave your like, subscribe, and watch one of the videos appearing on your screen. Forward combatants, see you next time.